I sent my parents money for years while they secretly laughed at me, so I cut them off, exposed their scam in front of the whole family, and watched their lives crumble as everyone turned against them. I always thought family meant having each other's backs. I mean, that's what I was taught, right? Turns out, I was the only one who believed it. For years I sent money to my parents, Mom, Karen, and Dad, Jeff. They always had some kind of emergency. Car broke down. Electric bill overdue. Rent short. And because I was their son, I helped. I wasn't rich, but I made enough to support myself and still send a few hundred every month to help them out. Then one night, my cousin Matt sent me a voice recording. I almost didn't listen. But when I did, my stomach dropped. It was my parents. Laughing. She actually thinks he's doing something with his life. Mom cackled. Dad snorted. What a loser. Barely making it and still sending us money. Can you believe that? I just say thank you and let him think he's the hero, Mom said, voice dripping with sarcasm. I mean, he's too stupid to realize we don't need his money. My head spun. I played the recording 5 times just to be sure. These were my parents? The people I had struggled to help? That was the night I made a decision. No more money. No explanations. No arguments. I just stopped. Then, a month later, my phone rang. It was Mom. Family dinner this Sunday. You're coming, right? I smiled to myself. Oh, I wouldn't miss it for the world. I showed up to the family dinner right on time, and the moment I stepped through the door, I could feel something was off. Mom's face lit up in an overly sweet smile. There's my favorite son, she sang, pulling me into a hug. Dad patted my shoulder, grinning. Looking sharp, son. Work's treating you well, huh? I almost laughed. These were the same people who called me a loser a month ago. The same ones who thought I was too dumb to realize they didn't actually need my money. I played along. Yeah, work's been great. No complaints. We sat at the table, and for the first time in years, nobody mentioned bills or money. No. We've been struggling. Stories. No. Can you help just this once? Requests. Instead, they asked about my job, my apartment, like they actually cared. Then, my sister, Emily, leaned over and whispered, What's going on with you and Mom? She's been acting different. I kept my voice low. What do you mean? She's been stressed for weeks. Kept asking if you were mad at her. I've never seen her so nervous about anything before. I smirked. Interesting. Then, just as I was about to dig into my food, Mom cleared her throat. So, honey, we were actually meaning to ask you something. Ah. There it is. I leaned back in my chair, trying to hide my amusement. Oh? What did you want to ask me? Mom and Dad exchanged a quick glance, like they were deciding who would speak first. Finally, Mom sighed dramatically, as if the weight of the world was on her shoulders. Well, sweetie, she began, her voice syrupy sweet. Your father and I have hit a bit of a rough patch financially. It's just temporary, of course. Dad nodded, playing his part. Yeah, just until things smooth out. I slowly chewed my food, pretending to think it over. Oh wow, that's tough, I said. What happened? Mom hesitated. Well, some unexpected expenses came up. Oh? I raised an eyebrow. Like what? She blinked, caught off guard. Just regular things. Dad cleared his throat. Son, look, we just need a little help covering rent this month. There it is. I took a sip of my drink. How much do you need? Their faces lit up. Mom reached for my hand. Oh, sweetheart, just $1,500. Nothing crazy. I nearly laughed. That was more than I used to send them in 3 months combined. But instead of reacting, I just smiled. Oh wow, that's a lot. Mom nodded eagerly. I know, but we'd pay you back as soon as we... I held up a hand. No, I mean, that's a lot considering you told Aunt Linda last week that you guys were doing great. Silence. Dad's jaw tightened. Mom's smile wavered. Busted. The room got quiet. You could hear a pin drop. Mom's smile twitched. W what? I leaned forward, resting my elbows on the table. Yeah. Aunt Linda called me last week. She said she was happy to hear you and Dad were finally comfortable. No more struggling or barely scraping by. Dad coughed into his fist. Well, that's because we didn't want to worry her. I nodded slowly. Right. Just like you didn't want to worry me, while you were laughing about how dumb I was for sending you money. The color drained from Mom's face. Across the table, my sister Emily's mouth fell open. Wait, what? I pulled out my phone and scrolled through my messages. Cousin Matt sent me something interesting last month. Then I hit play. The sound of my parents mocking me filled the room. Their laughter. The insults. Every cruel word they never thought I'd hear. Mom slapped the table. Turn that off. I did. But the damage was done. Emily looked disgusted. Mom! Dad, tell me that wasn't you. They had no words. I exhaled and stood up. So, yeah? That's why I stopped sending money. And I'm sure as heck not about to start again. Dad scowled. You're really gonna let us struggle? I grabbed my coat. No. I'm gonna let you figure it out. Then, just as I was about to walk out, someone else spoke up. And that's when things got really interesting. Just as I reached for the door, Emily's voice cut through the tension. Wait. I turned around. She was glaring at our parents, arms crossed. So, let me get this straight, she said. You've been taking money from him for years, while making fun of him? Mom sighed dramatically. Emily, you don't understand. No, I think I do. She shook her head. You guilt-tripped him into thinking you needed help. Meanwhile, you were sitting here laughing at him behind his back? Dad grunted. This isn't your business, Emily. Oh, it's very much my business. She snapped. Because you've been lying to me too. Mom paled. What do you mean? Emily looked right at me. You weren't the only one sending them money. I frowned. Wait, what? She let out a bitter laugh. Yeah. Every time they cried to me about how they were barely making it, I sent them at least $500. I thought I was helping. But now I realize it was all a scam. I shook my head in disbelief. Wow. So they were getting money from both of us. Emily scoffed. Not just us. I blinked. What? She turned to Mom and Dad, eyes burning with anger. Tell him. Tell him who else you've been taking money from. Mom and Dad stared at their plates. Neither spoke. I felt my stomach drop. Emily, who else? She took a deep breath. Aunt Linda. I froze. They had been scamming our own aunt too. And that's when I decided it was time for revenge. I sat back down, crossing my arms. So, let me get this straight, I said slowly. You weren't just lying to me. You weren't just taking money from Emily. You were also scamming Aunt Linda? Mom fidgeted with her napkin. It's not what it sounds like. Emily scoffed. Oh, really? Because it sounds like you two have been milking your own family for money while sitting around laughing about it. Dad slammed his fist on the table. Enough. We are your parents. You owe us respect. I laughed. Actually laughed. Respect? That's funny. You had mine for years. And you threw it away the second you decided I was nothing more than an ATM. Mom's face twisted in frustration. Look, we just needed help, okay? Families help each other. Emily turned to me, her eyes dark with anger. We need to tell Aunt Linda. I nodded. Oh, we're gonna do a lot more than that. Mom's head snapped up. What does that mean? I smirked. You'll see. Emily caught on quick. Oh. I like where this is going. Dad's face turned red. You wouldn't dare. I stood up, tossing my napkin onto the table. Watch me. Mom reached for my arm. Wait, sweetheart. I pulled away. Oh no, don't start with the sweetheart stuff now. You lost that privilege the second you called me a loser. Then Emily and I walked out together. And just like that, the real fun began. The moment we got outside, Emily turned to me, eyes blazing. We need to call Aunt Linda. Now. I nodded and pulled out my phone. I put the call on speaker. Aunt Linda picked up on the second ring. Oh, hi, sweetheart. How was dinner? Emily and I exchanged a look. Then I said, Linda, we need to talk. It's about my parents. There was a pause. Then, cautiously, she asked, what about them? I took a deep breath. They've been lying to us. To all of us. They'd been taking money from Emily and me for years. And from you too. Another pause. Then Aunt Linda laughed. But not in a good way. It was one of those bitter, I knew it kind of laughs. I had a feeling. She muttered. They'd been asking me for money for years. I thought something was off, but I didn't want to assume. Emily crossed her arms. Well, now you know. And they'd been laughing at us behind our backs while doing it. Aunt Linda went silent. Then, her voice turned ice cold. Oh, they're gonna regret this. I grinned. That's exactly what I was hoping you'd say. Aunt Linda chuckled. You have a plan, don't you? I smirked. Oh, I've got the plan. And that's when Operation Payback officially began. Aunt Linda wasted no time. I'll handle this, she said. Just tell me what you need. Emily and I looked at each other, and in that moment, we both had the same idea. We need to trap them in their own lies, Emily said. I nodded. We'll set up a situation where they expose themselves. Publicly. Aunt Linda hummed. I like it. I assume you have something in mind? I grinned. Yeah. We're going to bait them. Step 1, the bait. Aunt Linda called my parents the next day. She pretended to be completely oblivious. Jeff, Karen, I'm so sorry to hear you're struggling, she said, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. If you need help, I'd be happy to send some money. How much do you need? Mom fell for it immediately. Oh, Linda, bless your heart, she sighed. It's been so rough. We're behind on rent, and Jeff's hours got cut. We could really use $2,000 just to get by. Emily, listening in on speakerphone, nearly choked. 2,000? Aunt Linda didn't hesitate. Of course, sweetie. But listen, I was thinking, why don't you both come over for dinner this Sunday? I'll bring some of the family. We'll have a nice meal, and I'll bring the money in cash. Mom practically tripped over herself agreeing. Oh, Linda, that would be wonderful. She had no idea she was walking straight into our trap. Step 2, the witnesses. Emily and I invited everyone. Extended family, old friends, even a couple of Mom and Dad's neighbors. If we were going to expose them, we needed witnesses. By Sunday, the stage was set. The dinner table was full, and my parents were beaming, thinking they had just scored another payday. Aunt Linda had a fat envelope sitting on the table, just enough to make them greedy. Then, she dropped the bomb. So, Jeff, Karen, she said loud enough for everyone to hear. Tell us again how you've been struggling. Mom's smile faltered. Oh, well, you know, times are hard. Aunt Linda leaned forward. Because I talked to a few people. And it seems like you've been telling different versions of your struggles to different people. Dad tensed. What do you mean? I pulled out my phone. Let me help. Then I hit play. The recording of their laughter. The insults. The mocking. The whole room went dead silent. Mom's face turned white. Dad's hands clenched. Then, Emily hit them with the finishing blow. Mom? Dad? Tell everyone how much money you've really been getting. From all of us. And that was the moment they realized. They were done. Mom's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. Dad just sat there, fists clenched, eyes darting around the table like he was looking for an escape. But there was none. Aunt Linda tapped the envelope of cash on the table. So, let's go over this, shall we? She said, voice dripping with sarcasm. You told me you needed $2,000 for rent. But last month, you told Emily you were short by $500. And before that, you told my brother Mark you needed help with unexpected medical bills, which, by the way, was another $1,000. Mark, who had been sitting quietly until now, shook his head. Wait, hold on. You told me it was for medical bills. Mom looked like she was going to pass out. Aunt Linda wasn't done. And then there's what you were taking from your son here. She gestured to me. How much was it again? I leaned back in my chair. About $800 a month. For 3 years. A shocked gasp rippled through the room. The whispers started. That's over $28,000. They were taking from their own kids? And laughing about it? Dad slammed his hand on the table. Enough! His face was bright red. We are your parents! You don't get to humiliate us like this in front of family. Emily scoffed. You humiliated yourselves. Mom's voice trembled. We were just doing what we had to survive. Aunt Linda's eyes narrowed. Oh, really? She pulled out her phone and tapped a few times before turning the screen around. A listing for a cruise vacation. Fully paid. Under Mom's name. Everyone gasped. Mom's face froze. Oh, Aunt Linda said sweetly. So is this what struggling looks like? That was the moment everything fell apart. The room went silent. Mom's face was frozen in shock, her eyes darting between the phone screen and the furious faces around the table. Dad looked like he had swallowed a lemon. Emily broke the silence first. "A cruise?" she hissed. "You've been crying broke for years, scamming money out of all of us, and you booked a freaking cruise?" Mom's voice wavered. It was just a little vacation." Aunt Linda raised an eyebrow. "A $5,000 vacation." The whispers around the table turned into outright outrage. "You lied to us? All these years? And you think you deserve a vacation?" Dad finally snapped. "All right, fine. We took some extra money. So what?" He looked around, furious. "We raised you. We sacrificed for you. You all act like we're criminals when all we did was get a little help from our own family." I let out a short laugh. "Help? Help? You stole from us. You tricked us. And you sat around laughing while we struggled to cover your bills, which, apparently, were really funding your vacations." Mom's voice got shrill. "We deserve something nice too. You don't know how hard it is." Aunt Linda cut her off. "You're right. We don't. Because we don't sit around conning our own family." She picked up the envelope of cash and tucked it into her purse. "By the way, you're not getting this." Mom gasped. "What?" "Bud, you promise." Aunt Linda scoffed. "I promise to help struggling family. Turns out, you're not struggling at all." She turned to Mark. "What do you think we should do about this?" Mark crossed his arms. "I think they owe everyone a refund." Dad's face darkened. "That money is ours. You can't just—" I cut in. "Actually, we can." I pulled out my phone and smirked. "Because we have proof." Mom's jaw dropped. "You—" Dad's fists clenched. "You wouldn't dare." I locked eyes with him. "Try me." And that's when they realized. They were officially screwed. Mom looked ready to cry. Dad looked like he wanted to flip the table. But neither of them had a single excuse left. The evidence was there. The recording. The lies. The cruise. And now, with the whole family watching, they were backed into a corner. Aunt Linda stood up, her voice firm. "You have two choices," she said, holding up two fingers. "One, you pay everyone back what you took. Every single dollar." Dad scoffed. "And what's option two?" I smirked. "We go public." Mom swallowed hard. "Public?" Emily leaned in. "Oh yeah? We'll tell everyone. Your friends, your neighbors, your church group, you know, the people you love pretending to be so humble and hardworking around?" Aunt Linda nodded. "Oh, and I have a friend who's a lawyer. We can absolutely look into fraud charges." Dad shot up from his chair. "Fraud?" Aunt Linda didn't even flinch. "Taking money under false pretenses? Convincing people you were on the verge of homelessness while secretly funding vacations? That's called deception. And if we push hard enough, yeah, we could make a case." Mom looked like she was about to pass out. "Why you wouldn't?" I folded my arms. "I don't know, Mom. Would I?" Silence. Then, something I never expected happened. Dad snapped. "You know what?" he snarled. "Fine. If you all want to turn on us after everything we've done for you, then go ahead. You think you're so much better? You think you don't owe us for all those years we raised you? We deserve that money." Emily shook her head in disgust. "Wow. You really have zero shame, huh?" Aunt Linda sighed. "All right. That settles it." She pulled out her phone and started typing. Mom panicked. Wait. What are you doing?" Linda didn't even look up. "Oh, just writing a little public post about what you two have been up to. Might even send it to some of your friends." Mom jumped up. "Stop!" But it was too late. Aunt Linda hit send. And in that moment, my parents' entire reputation began to crumble. The moment Aunt Linda hit send, Mom practically lunged for her phone. "Delete it!" she shrieked. Aunt Linda calmly pulled her hand back. "Oh, Karen," she sighed. "You really think that's how this works?" Dad's face was bright red. "You just ruined our lives!" Emily scoffed. "No, you ruined your lives. We just told the truth." Within minutes, the damage started rolling in. Mom's phone buzzed nonstop. Texts, calls, notifications from social media. She snatched it up and gasped. "Oh my God!" Dad checked his own phone. His expression turned ashen. People are commenting. Aunt Linda smirked. What are they saying? Mom read out loud, her voice shaking. Wow, I always thought you two were so kind. Guess I was wrong. So you've been scamming your own kids? Disgusting. Unbelievable. I hope everyone sees what frauds you are. More and more poured in. Neighbors. Family friends. Even people from their church group. Mom clutched her chest. I can't breathe. Dad turned to me, his face full of rage. Fix this. I laughed. Oh, now you want my help? I shook my head. Nope. You dug this hole. Time to lie in it. Mom burst into tears. We were just trying to. No. Emily cut her off. No more excuses. No more guilt trips. We're done. Aunt Linda stood up and grabbed her purse. Well, this has been fun, but I think we've all had enough. She turned to me and Emily. Shall we? We nodded, walking out the door together, leaving Mom and Dad scrambling to do damage control. And as we left, I heard one last notification come in on Mom's phone. A message from someone in her church group. The pastor would like to have a word with you. Oof. They were really in trouble now. The fallout was immediate. By the time I got home that night, my phone was blowing up with messages from extended family. Apparently, my parents had been begging people to believe their side of the story, except no one was buying it. Aunt Linda's post had spread fast. Mom called 6 times. I ignored every single one. Then, Emily sent me a text. Emily, Dad just tried calling me. Left a voicemail about how we betrayed them. Me, did you listen to it? Emily, oh, absolutely. Want me to forward it? I smirked. Why not? Seconds later, I was listening to Dad's angry rant. You ungrateful little. Censored. After everything we've done for you, you go and humiliate us. Do you know what you've done? People are cutting us off. The church is talking about asking us to leave. We have nothing now, and it's all your fault. I actually laughed. Oh, now they had nothing? After stealing from us? After living comfortably while pretending to be struggling? Karma was working fast. Emily sent another text. Emily, oh, and guess what? Mom got fired today. Me, wait, what? Emily, yeah? Apparently, her boss saw the post. Turns out, stealing from your own kids doesn't look great when you work in a family values company. I stared at the message for a long time, then exhaled. Wow. My parents had spent years tricking people, taking money, manipulating us, and in just one day, their whole house of lies had collapsed. And the best part? We weren't even done yet. The next morning, I woke up to another string of missed calls from Mom and Dad. They were clearly panicking. Emily sent me a simple text. Emily, they're begging now. I smirked. Figures. Aunt Linda called soon after, her voice full of amusement. So, guess who showed up at my door this morning? I sat up. No way. Oh, yes way. She chuckled. Your parents. They looked like they hadn't slept all night. I barely opened the door before your mom burst into tears, saying they'd lost everything. I rolled my eyes. And let me guess, they suddenly see the error of their ways. Aunt Linda laughed. Oh, they tried that. Your mom gave some long speech about family sticking together and forgiveness. Your dad just stood there, scowling like a toddler in timeout. Emily, who had joined the call, snorted. So? What did you do? Aunt Linda sighed dramatically. Oh, I did what any reasonable person would do. I smiled, and closed the door. Emily and I burst out laughing. No way, I said. Oh, yes, Linda said, still amused. I let them beg for a solid 5 minutes first. Then I gave them a very polite no. Emily wiped away a tear. Oh, that's beautiful. I shook my head in disbelief. So what now? They have no job, no friends, and their reputation is trashed. Aunt Linda hummed. Well, that's their problem, isn't it? And honestly, for the first time in years, I didn't feel bad for them. Because they had earned this. A week passed. Then 2. Mom and Dad went completely silent. No more calls, no more texts, no more desperate voicemails. It was almost like they had vanished. Emily and I weren't complaining. Then, one afternoon, Emily called me, laughing hysterically. You are not going to believe this. She gasped between laughs. Oh, this I gotta hear, I said, leaning back. What happened? She took a deep breath, then dropped the bombshell. Mom and Dad got evicted. I nearly choked on my drink. What? Yup, she giggled. Turns out, when you lie about being broke for years, spend all your emergency money on vacations, and then get fired, landlords aren't super sympathetic. I was speechless. Wait, I said. So where are they now? Emily cackled. At Grandma's house. I blinked. Grandma let them move in? Oh, she did, Emily said, voice full of pure joy. But she's making them pay rent. I lost it. Grandma was a no-nonsense woman. She had always seen through Mom and Dad's lies, but she never got involved. Now, she had all the power. Emily kept going. Oh, and get this, Mom called me yesterday asking if I could help them out just this once. I smirked. And? Emily grinned. I said, oh, sorry, I would, but I'm saving for a vacation. You know, like the one you went on. Silence. Then we both burst out laughing. For the first time in forever, Mom and Dad weren't getting their way. No more easy money. No more fake sob stories. Just consequences. And I was finally truly free.